Hello and welcome to our midweek episode this week, where we're going to talk about the Canadian buyers. Last week we talked about Montreal, Ottawa, Winnipeg, and Vancouver, who we thought were going to be sellers this year. Now we're looking into Toronto first, Calgary, and then lastly the Edmonton Oilers. So starting with the Toronto Maple Leafs, obviously they're buyers. They already bought from Arizona, that tire fire, garage sale, whatever the heck you want to call it. And I think there's still one or two moves left. They have enough picks to be able to do that. Not a lot of you remember when we did their prospect, yeah, we did their prospect profile and whatnot. So
yes,
they don't have too much of that, and they're getting dangerously close to not having enough draft picks to in order to continue building for the future, right? So I think they have one or two trades left that they can make.
They have a first round and a second round, and that's it.
That's it.
They traded all of the rest away
of this year, but it's still the two picks to have, right? It's still the two picks to get. So
they could, if they want to, trade next year's first, second, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and then they have the rest, all of the 2024.
Yeah,
but for this year they have barely anything.
So yeah, I think they'll just. I don't know if they have the resources to do it, but ideally you get, like we mentioned in the last episode of Dustin Brown. I think, listen, man, until they make it past that first, that's a good team out there. That's an unbelievable team. But until they make it past that first round, I have no confidence that they'll ever be able to do it.
Overcome their demons of the first round, then yeah.
Well, it's they're going to have to go through both Ottawa and Tampa. That is going to be very difficult. And then after that, probably Carolina. Or Pittsburgh, or Washington.
Ottawa?
No, Florida.
Oh,
or Tampa.
Ottawa.
No,
I'm like, what the hell? Ottawa's
they already got through Ottawa.
Right?
No, but seriously though, Florida and Tampa for sure already. They're gonna finish second or third, so they're gonna go between either Florida or Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you have the winner of the Metro, which is arguably the best division in all of hockey right now, and you can have one of Carolina, Pittsburgh, or Washington, or Rangers. Those are four good teams, man. So yeah, to make it to the Cup Finals is a lot more difficult for them. But they need that veteran leadership that has the winning experience. They had Jumbo last year; he never won. They had Marlowe; he never won. Great leadership, great leaders, but they never won. They never got over that hurdle of the Stanley Cup yet. They made it to the finals, both of them, but never once have they won the Cup. I think for a team that has such demons in the playoffs, that is a mandatory thing that they really need.
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely.
That's a good team, though. That is a very good team. So they should definitely make it. But what do they have? They have a legitimate goalie and they have a good backup, right? They have legitimate centers. The top three centers are unreal. Except I think Marner doesn't play center; he only plays wing. So even then, they got good.
Yeah, Matthews, Tavares, and Kampf.
Yeah, so Kampf is still decent. You have the offense that you need on there. So I think I'm not even going to give you a position because I think the defense is solid enough that they can do it, especially with Ilya, whatever his last name is, Lyubushkin coming in. He's going to fit into that third pairing quite well. I think. Is he a left or right? Do you know?
Lyubushkin?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
I think he's right, but it's also 50-50 chance, so it's
It says he shoots right, so I'm guessing right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw him right. I think he's a bigger guy, too, if I'm not mistaken. It's a playoff presence.
6'2".
Okay, so, not bad. Not tiny, but not huge. Well, anyways, he'll be good for the third pairing, I think. The defense is quite decent. They got Morgan Riley, TJ Brody, Jake Muzzin. That's some good. Muzzin's won, so he has some experience, but he's the only guy that's ever won a cup on that team. Nobody's ever had they've had one cup finalists in Spezza that 1 year with Ottawa, and that's about it. So I don't know if they'll be able to do it with the lack of prospects and their lack of draft picks. But somebody like a Dustin Brown should definitely be going out there. More ideal, a Nanze Kopitar, but there's no way they can afford that. Or even a Drew Doughty, but again, no way they can afford that. Not even in their cap situation. So Just get them a player that has the leadership and experience of actually making it and winning a cup, but also can play some meaningful minutes and not just like 2 minutes a game on your bench and just yelling at the guys. Like, he needs to show the leadership on the ice itself too. So I think that's for Toronto. I think.
Who'd you like trade for though? Like trade for Dustin Brown.
Like, who would I give up?
Who'd you give up?
Whatever I can, man. I'd give up. They have to go for it. They have to like go all in at least 1 year, and this might be. The East isn't going to get any easier, so this is going to have to be the year that they go all in. And I'd give up their best prospect, Nate Robertson, and their first. You go all in this year, like 100%. You go all in if you're Toronto. So Nate Robertson and a first for Dustin Brown, and that definitely does it. And then, but LA would have to retain some of his salary. I think this is his last year as a UFA after this year. So
yeah, I would say then LA retain a little bit, and then I would say
LA retain half, and then you give away Nate, and you give him Nate Robertson and a first, and that should be enough. It's a lot to give up, though, a lot. But
then all they would have is their second, and that's it.
Yeah. And not only that, that's all they have for their prospects, too. Nate Robertson's by far their best prospect.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah. I would give up my first next year, not this year, to see if they're okay with that. I'd offer it first. Because you need somebody to draft. You need to draft someone this year to replace Robertson, right?
That is true, yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, hey, listen, man, like, Toronto's, they got to go all in, and I think you got to go for somebody like a Brown. I don't know many other players in the league that would really be available to be maybe. Oh, they could also try for like Philip Deneau, but Deneau just signed there. Actually, that's not happening.
That's not happening.
Yeah. No, you're silly idea, Victor. Come on. Anyways, so like Calgary, I guess also has already made a deal this year. Toffoli for a first, protected first, a fifth, Tyler Pitlick, and a decent prospect. Not one of their best ones, but it's still a decent prospect. Montreal got a lot out of that, man. Good for them. What else do you think they're going to go for? I think they try to make one more trade, but I think their goalie is set.
Their goalies are set. Like, Markstrom is, like, legit, like, this year at least, elite.
Oh, yeah. And Vladar is probably the best backup in the league.
Yeah. Like, I would say their forwards are fine. Like they just have to show up in the playoffs and not like disappear like they usually do. So I would say go for one more defenseman just to shore up their defense, and then they should be fine. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even do anything, because it's right now it's still a pretty good team. But if they want to improve a little bit more, I would say, I would say defense.
Yeah, I'd probably get a big defense to go back there. I mean, Montreal showed last year that you don't need a lead offense to make it all the way to the final, but that you need your players to show up when they're supposed to.
Like right now, because Kachuk is an RFA after this season, and Gaudreau is a UFA after this season, and they don't have that much money, I don't think. Yeah, they don't have a lot of cap space. I would not be surprised if they
try to go all in this year?
They try to go all in this year, but they have to trade Gaudreau.
No, they're not. They can't trade Gaudreau for this year.
They have to be for like a really good forward, but
if it's an upgrade, yes.
If it's an upgrade,
an upgrade okay. Like a Gaudreau for. Can I bring up Kopitar? I just think Kopitar would be the perfect addition.
No, it's kind of hard because LA is doing pretty decent.
Yeah, but they're not making it. Like, they're not going to go far.
If we're playing the way we're playing, and then
Gaudreau for Hurdle, UFA for UFA, but that's an upgrade. I think Hurdle's a better player than Gaudreau. Listen, the issue with Calgary is actually quite similar to Toronto. To be completely honest with you, it's just the lack of leadership of like championship pedigree and championship experience that they don't score goals.
More they don't score goals in the playoffs. So.
And that's their issue. Like, their centermen are a little smaller, like the Lindholms, the Monahans. Like, they're smaller centers, or they're getting manhandled a little bit more, and it's a lot easier to control in the playoffs. But now they have built a big team around them. But like the third, fourth line and their defense is all huge, right? But like the first two lines are still relatively small.
It's
This
tough.
is the thing, like, this is the year to go all in for the West, too, man. This is a much weaker Western Conference than we're used to in the past. Like, this is a good year to try to go all in. And I don't think, if they stay pat, they're not winning the Cup. Like, this is not a team that screams offensive potential to me. It's a very, very, very good team, though. And they've been playing playoff hockey all year. So, if of all the teams in the West, I think Calgary's... If I didn't hate Calgary, I'd put money for them. But I put money on them to go to the final because they play the exact style of hockey that works in the playoffs. I just can't trust that they're going to make it past the first round because they haven't done it in so long. Yeah. So, and it'll be an interesting one because who are they going to play in the first round, right? Like, if they finish, they're right now the way they're looking, they'll finish first in the Pacific, right? So they'll play likely the second, the best wild card team, which is going to be somebody from. It's going to be. Oh, it's not LA or anything. They would beat LA in the playoffs.
So right now, it's Nashville and LA. Right now, if we started.
Does Calgary beat Nashville, you think? I think they play very similar styles, to be honest with you. They're both defensive-minded teams first that rarely produce offense. Markstrom is a better goalie than Saros.
Saros, yeah.
But Saros, when he plays unreal, is such a good goalie. Anyways, Markstrom's a better goalie. Their defense...
Nashville has a better defense.
I think Nashville has a better defense. Their number one defense is better than any of the Calgary forwards. Roman Josi is a more offensive player than every single one. Like, Gaudreau is unbelievably talented and skilled. But Roman Josi's still a better player than he is, and he's more of an offensive threat than Gaudreau is at most times. And then the Calgary forwards are better. I think it goes at 6 games, 6 or 7. I think it would be a big series. But even then, like I don't have full confidence that they'd be able to win. Vegas, oh yeah, I expect Vegas to crush them 4-0. The Nashville Predators, I mean. Edmonton, okay, call me a homer, sure, but I think Edmonton. Yeah, they're much worse defensively, and their goalie is much worse, but their offense is
superior,
significantly superior, 100%. Like, there's no question.
Especially how they're playing, like the last 5 games, 5-6 games, which it's like they outscored their opposition 22-8.
Yeah.
So
I guess we'll finish really quick. We'll finish with Calgary. Calgary, I think. I agree. Defense, shore it up because you need to buy into what you're preaching this year, and they are preaching a very strong defensive first team.
I would say if you don't want to trade Gaudreau and just go all in and not get a forward, then I would just shore up their defense and just focus on not letting the opponent score, and then hopefully their forwards show up and score.
Here's what I think. I think they should go for Tomas Hertl. And that's them going all in. Even not giving up Gaudreau. Just go all in on Hertl. Give up a first, a very good prospect, and have them retain picks again. Or retain money again. Because Hertl's a UFA at the end of this year. And with Hertl, that's enough of an offense upgrade that I honestly, they can be a cup contender just by adding Hertl, in my opinion.
Do you think they would?
Because Hertl would.
Because they have 2 second-round picks this year, but then they have their top 4 of next year, and if they do go for Hertl, I would.
Hertl won't go for anything less than a first-round pick.
So first of next year, second of this year,
and a prospect, and a good prospect, not just probably their. Who was that guy that Zari? Yeah. Hertl will go for that.
Maybe
Hertl's a legit
another second.
Hertl is a number 1 center.
Oh yeah.
Hertl's a very good player. Hertl added to that team, that is a legitimate cup contender. And I would
draw Hertl and Kachuk and Mangiapane, Lindholm and Coleman. Ooh.
Yeah, and then Monahan's your third line center. Toffoli. Shut down third line center with Toffoli and whoever the heck Dubé. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
That would be the top. Oof. That would be the best top 9, the most deep at least.
Oof.
Yeah, that's good.
That is good.
Calgary has Calgary needs to add one more. They can't add another middle 6 forward. If they're going to add something, it has to be a first line forward. It has to. They have to add that. Because with all due respect, they only have 2 offensive elite players on that team. And I wouldn't even put them elite. I'd put them amongst the top 50 offensive players in the league, they have two. Gaudreau and Lindholm, in my opinion. Tkachuk is not an offensive threat. He's just a pest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very good player, but he's still just a pest.
That'd be a lot to give for a rental, but if they want to go all in, yeah, I would definitely go for Hurdle.
I think, Calgary should consider going all in because this is a very good team. They are playing the style of hockey that will win you games, but again, you can't.
Markstrom will steal you games.
And that defense is a very big, physical, strong defense who's not going to give up a lot, especially that top four. So I like your suggestion of getting a third pairing D that you can play 5D in a game. I like that idea of yours, and I think they're two moves away.
Going all in for Hurdle.
Might as well, right? Might as well. This is a very
this would
good
be
team.
like their best chance, I guess,
Yep.
because they're playing amazing right now. So
And both Tkachuk and Gaudreau are set for pay raises, and they won't be able to afford them both.
And I would say if you have to give up Gaudreau, it'd probably be in the draft, just so that you have Gaudreau for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because like between Gaudreau and Tkachuk, I would definitely keep Tkachuk, even though I don't really like Tkachuk that much. But I would give up.
But he's the heart and
Gaudreau.
soul of that team.
Oh yeah,
He definitely is. Yeah.
So I would say And if you can't sign Hurdle, well, you still have Lindholm, Tkachuk, and Toffoli. I think he still has like a year or two left.
Yeah, I think Toffoli still got some time.
So,
listen, that's a good team. Toffoli was a really smart addition by them. I think they gave up a little bit too much, but it was a very smart addition by them for sure. And that's playoff experience. He won a cup, I think, with LA.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good experience for sure. They're a bigger team, but it's like, again, they're a physical team. We've seen that works in the playoffs and everything. But if they don't, unless they add another elite forward, I don't see them making it far because they just won't be able to score. That was Vegas's issue. Vegas wasn't able to win anything because they just didn't have any offense to do it. So moving on to a team that only has offense and no defense,
or goaltending,
the Oilers. Ideally, you get a goalie. So this is gonna sound weird because I think
the way their offense is playing right now, I wouldn't be surprised they don't do anything for offense.
Yeah, but you also need to I think they'll call up Holloway if they need to, and I think they have the offense. They have it internally. I think.
Yeah, offense they have. Yeah.
Defense, however,
not so much.
I think the top four is okay between Nurse, Bouchard, Keith, and Ceci. I think that's okay.
And I definitely keep Niemelainen up here for sure.
So this is my thing. I think they need to add two bigger defensive-minded two bigger defensive-minded defenders. Niemelainen can be the seventh defenseman.
Oh yeah, Niemelainen will be seventh defenseman, but
two, because I do not trust. Russell's okay, but he's small. He's not the playoff type of defenseman that we need.
No, but he blocks shots, so that's
right. But a big defenseman can block shots too.
That's if they go down. Not a lot of our defense really go down besides Russell.
All right, but I'd rather have a big physical presence than a Russell.
Oh, in the playoffs? Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to get at.
That's why we have Niemelainen as our seventh.
I think we have two defensemen, a left and a right, obviously, for the third pairing that we should add. Because then that way Keith can go down to third pairing too. Right? If we added Ben Sherrod, he'll be the second pairing lefty. You put Keith into third pairing, which is more suitable for him right now. He's still a good defenseman. He can play third pairing minutes. Cece's playing unreal right now. But if you add a shutdown right defenseman, then you can have your second pairing shutdown guy with Bouchard on the right. You can have Nurse with your a shutdown guy that you bring in. Yeah, anyways, I'm an idiot. I didn't know what I'm saying. But I think we're two defensemen away. I don't realistically see us getting a goalie. I want to, really bad. I just don't know what we I don't think we have the cap space or the pros or the.
Or let's say we do get a goalie.
It's got to be Fleury or Gibson if they're willing to give him up for a while.
I don't.
Fleury won't want to come here. Yeah.
I was thinking, since this team is gonna have problems because both their goalies are gonna be UFAs. I'd probably go to Colorado. If you can somehow get Kemper, that'd be definitely a big upgrade in our goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
Or even their backup, Francouz.
Francouz isn't bad.
Like he's playing amazing.
But
right
Colorado
now.
isn't giving up a goal. You know that though.
That's true.
They're first in the West. Like they're not sellers. You got to go after the teams that are sellers right now. And the only team that's a seller that has a goalie that's worth going for is Anaheim, Gibson. But that'll be a big package you got to give up. And Stuart Skinner is definitely going to have to be a part of that package for them.
And that's definitely not going to happen if we go to Anaheim. Let's see, what do we have as draft picks? We obviously have our first.
I think we only have the first, second.
Second is tied up with the
conditional. The conditional for Calgary, right?
Calgary. Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
We do have all of our picks next year's and all of our picks in 2024.
Holland has said he's not going to go all in until he feels the team is full already. I think he's... With a couple offseason moves, I think he'll next year will be all in, like full on all in.
It would have to be, like it has to be either now, or
I think
definitely next year, or
he should go all, like not all in, like give away every single prospect that we have, but at the end of the day,
like I would say for expendables that are definitely or should be leaving, has to be Koskinen, Barry. I would have to go with Yamo.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yamo.
I would argue Yamamoto. Yep.
Because we have Niemelainen, we have Broberg. We don't really need Samorukov.
Well, we need somebody to replace Keith when he retires, either this year or next year. Right? Somebody needs to be able to replace that presence back there. So and that's why I think they really should go hard at Ben Sherratt. Like, really go for that guy just to really ensure that we have the experience back there to really go for it, right? Holland's... I'm a little nervous as to this offseason. I don't want to hand out too many more long-term contracts like he has this last little bit, but I don't know, man. This offense, though, this is an elite offense. This top 9 is finally coming around. The Kane edition was huge. And when Puljujärvi comes back from his injury, it'll be solid. You add Dylan Holloway in there, and that's a scary top 9. Their defense is, I think, their weakest thing right now, but the style that they're playing, more of a team defense, is working. So,
especially the way Woodcroft is playing the defense, it's improved just by like hiding our weaknesses a little bit more.
Smith is playing a lot better too.
Yeah,
Koskinen played okay last game. He was decent, actually, a little better than okay. He was decent. Listen, I'm not saying that we're good on goalies, but I do think that their plan is to have Stuart Skinner start for us soon. Probably actually next year. Be our starter in the NHL next year. I think that's their plan.
Honestly, if we go for a goalie, then we'd have to get rid of Koskinen and somehow get rid of Smith if we're gonna keep. If he goes for a goalie, then that goalie is gonna be playing for our team, and then Stuart Skinner is gonna be our backup. So Koskinen obviously is gone either in the deadline or in the offseason.
That's a very good point.
And Smith would have to go because honestly, like as much as I like Smith, if we go for a goalie, he's gone.
Has to, because you can't keep Skinner in the minors forever. He's on waivers next year. Like, we can't afford to lose him for nothing. And Skinner, the way, from what I understand, people around the league think of him as an actual potential NHL starter. Better than Cam Talbot type of starter. You know what I mean? Like, it's just tough because it's like, it's an unproven guy that they want to move up, but this is how you do it in the NHL. You got to move up the young guys. It's cap world. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do it that way. I just think, personally, for me, the issues are more on their team, on their defense overall. I definitely feel that we will need 2 defenders that literally their entire focus in life is to defend.
So basically, can't stay put. We have to go for something.
We have to go, in my opinion, it has to be 2 legitimate defenders. And I would even argue a 4th line shutdown center so that we can have 3 offensive lines and then a 4th line that just shuts them down. And a right shot, preferably. Because I like the 3 lines with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nuge centering them. I think it provides us so much offensive potential. But are we susceptible defensively because of that? I think the answer is yes. And I don't think it's because they don't play good enough defense. I think it's just because our defense isn't good.
All of our forwards have been playing better defense.
And that's the thing. So our forwards need to play good defense because our defense alone isn't good enough to just handle it, the 6 of them. Whereas, like St. Louis, when they won the Cup, that defense was elite. They would, like, just between the 6 defenders, they were all able to go out there, play 20 minutes each pretty much, and just shut them down completely. Right? I just think Calgary, in my opinion, is doing it right. They're really building around that defense and now starting to build around the offense. Finally, just getting some more offense to be able to do it.
Because they have like elite level goaltending. Like they have confidence in Markstrom and even in Vladar that.
Right. I don't disagree with that at all.
Worry as much.
And I don't disagree with that at all, but I also think that their top 6, their defense is better than Edmonton. Like,
I'm just saying, like, like they have more confidence in like maybe making an itty bitty mistake, but then Markstrom was there to just.
I do not disagree.
Save it.
They're playing with more confidence in their goaltending, 100%. But I'm still jam packed and like really standing firm on my argument that you put Vasilevsky on the Oilers during that terrible run that we had we maybe get 2 more wins. That team was giving up grade A chance after grade A chance. You can literally build a brick wall and will still find a way to lose.
I think if we do go for a goalie, like in the trade deadline, I think both our goalies are gone. It has to be, because then we can just bring up Skinner, because Skinner is.
Yeah, but I mean, who's gonna?
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, if we do go for a goalie, both our goalies are gone. But if we go for
a defense,
then
I think the play is
like we have prospects and like expendables to just be able to get another defenseman. But I even if we do shore up our defenseman, I don't trust our goalies.
Our playoffs last year, Smith was exceptional, and he's starting to get back into form. I'm not saying he's the Smith of last year exactly, but Smith was exceptional. Our goaltending last year was not the problem. No. And I honestly, Smith's beginning of the year was horrific. Koskinen for the longest time was just an absolute garbage can. And who's to say that's not going to happen in the playoffs this year, right? And I get that argument, but I think our biggest problem is in Edmonton right now is that defense, and especially that third pairing. Barrie gave up 2 breakaways.
Yes.
In a power play.
Yeah, they were shorthanded breakaways.
Gives up 2. You can't have Barrie anymore. I'm sorry. Bouchard is, in my opinion, equally as good offensively and significantly better defensively. If I'm not mistaken, Bouchard actually has more points than Barrie this year.
Yes, I believe he does, yeah.
Bouchard is, in my opinion, is better than Barrie already. Barrie, I understand the reason why we signed him, but he, in my opinion, he really needs to go. That is not a defenseman that we need on this team. You need 2 big-bodied, shut-down guys. Like, imagine, what if we go for Chara out of the Islanders? It's not going to be a lot to take from him. He has 1 year. This is his last year. He can retire after this year. 1 more playoff run. He's still a competent big defenseman. Yeah, right? So, yeah, I think, listen, Dream World, yeah, we get a legitimate number 1 superstar goalie like a Gibson or Fleury or
maybe not even legit number 1, but at least
listen,
if 1B.
No, we can't trade for a 1B. If they go for a goalie this year, it's because they're going all in, and it's because they're going for a star goalie.
That means like I said, both our goalies are gone.
Right, and I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that. But like Max Smith is 1B. Why do we need a second one? Stuart Skinner is playing as good as both of them this year, right?
Even better during that horrible.
Seriously though, like for real. I'm not saying that the goaltending here is perfect. I'm saying it's not the biggest problem. You gotta pick and choose what problem. Like you can't fix every single last thing that's deadline. It's not gonna be possible. If he does, he's a friggin' magician. Good for him. But I don't think it's going to be possible. I think this team could be a playoff. This team could be a cup contender if they add 2 legitimate shutdown defensemen and a fourth line, or a lower line, strong face-off specialist or like strong defensive forward. Because if if we don't give up that many good shots on net, like we're gonna get the goaltending that's gonna, like last year again. Smith wasn't the problem. The problem was all the grade A scoring chances and the fact that our offense didn't score at all. So now the offense is starting to pick up a little bit. They're being able
There's
to
actually lots of depth in our forwards now.
Mm-hmm. Significantly more than where it was last year, for sure. Just the Hyman and Kane additions, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's two top six forwards. Fogel's playing outrageous right now.
Like after the
he's like the energizer bunny that we need out there, 100%, right? Like I just think that I don't disagree we need a goalie. I don't disagree that our goalie can be upgraded. I just think that even if you add Vasilevsky to this team, we're still going to be losing games because of terrible defense in front of him.
It's either 2 defense and a defensive forward, or maybe even like 1 defense and a goalie.
Yeah, the way I see it too, like I guess I'll finish it off with this. I don't think we're 1 player away from the cup. I don't, but I think it's either we go for 1 goalie or we go for 2 lower pairing defensemen, or 2 shutdown D and a forward. I think it's you either get the 3 or the 1, because I think the cost of the goalie that we would need. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat. It's John Gibson. We need a goalie that's that good. We don't need a Mrazek. We don't need another like a Frank Hose. I'll even argue we don't need a Kemper. I genuinely feel that what this team desperately needs is a superstar goalie, but also to shore up that defense in front.
But if we go for Gibson, it'd have to be Skinner, though.
Yep, but that's fine because Gibson's 30 maybe. He still has 4 years in him. We can draft another goalie to play behind him, or trade for a backup or something.
Yeah, and Konovalov is playing really well in Bakersfield, so.
Right, but that's the thing. Do you want to go all in? And do you think in 4 years, like, there's no question Gibson's a better goalie right now at this moment? No question, none. But is Skinner going to be a better goalie in 4 years? I think the answer will be yes. I think Gibson goes down, Skinner starts going up. If you can find a way of trading for Gibson without giving away Skinner, oh, buddy, go for it. Like, throw in Konovalov. Honestly, dude, like even throw in like a Borgo or any of like our best prospects. Figure like on it. Throw in Borgo, Konovalov. Koskinen has to go back for cap.
Anyone but Holloway, I would say, give it to them. Plus,
I would try, because then you have Skinner playing here as the backup, getting some good experience behind Gibson. Gibson always gets injured, so Skinner can take over for there. You sign Skinner to a 5-year deal at like $3 million to be your backup, but then when Gibson's goes downhill, then you have Skinner coming out. Like that's the dream situation. Well, I highly doubt it's ever going to happen, but like that's what you dream for. I really feel strongly that Skinner is our number 1 goalie of the future. And
he'd probably even be number 1 next year.
Honestly, yeah. I think he will. I think they'll give him the opportunity, and I think he should run away with it. Because we didn't draft either of the 2 superstar, and I'm putting like my air quote fingers right now, like any of the superstar goalies.
Would have loved Kosa though.
Kosa would have been sick, but he wasn't going to fall to us.
No.
Kosa would have been awesome. But like we didn't get the Wallstad kid or whatever his name was, and we didn't get Askarov. We had a chance to get Wallstad this year. We traded down for Borgo. Everybody in the town was livid because they clearly think that they know everything about hockey. But Holland saw something in Skinner. I said that from day one. Like Holland saw something in Skinner to not go for that Wallstad kid or whatever his name is. He thinks... I believe that he thinks that Skinner is ready now, and his ceiling is as good as the Wallstad kid. That's how I feel. And for what I've seen this year, in front of a terrible defense, he had awful defense in front of him. Every game he's played so far this year, except for his recent shutout, he's just had garbage defense in front of him, and he's still putting up like 920 save percentage right now. Like he's just unreal at the moment, dude. This guy's playing lights out for Edmonton. Anyways, I think that's everything for us today. Yeah, I mean, listen, dude, this they're close. They're definitely, the Oilers are going to be, the buyers are close, each one of them. I think Toronto's the closest. Calgary's probably the most playoff built team, and Edmonton is probably the team that has the most I wouldn't say the best chance at the cup, but they have the most offensive potential of all of them that could make a serious run. So either one of the three teams.
More assets to give away to become better. Too,
I absolutely agree. Yeah. Yeah, like goals against average is below 913 save percentage, but that's in front of a garbage defense for the longest time. That's for Skinner, sorry. Anyways. All right, well, thank you everybody for listening to our midweek episode this week. Tune in I guess next week for episode 20 of the Can Ask podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.